So, I have been playing World of Tanks Blitz for a really long time. I've taken a lot of breaks from the game, hence the reason I don't have all the tanks yet, but I've still sorta kept up with the game all these years. One of the most popular tech trees in the game has always been the IS-7 tree. Every time I took a break from this game and came back, I always see tanks from this tech tree being played. And on top of that, the IS-7 is the second most played tier 10 heavy tank. Russian tanks themselves have always been super popular in the game since Blitz first launched, and there was a period of time where every time I played tier 5 to 10, there would always be one of these heavies either on my team or the enemy. And even now, I still see tanks from this entire line being played a lot. Now, I have multiple accounts that I played on throughout the years, and most of those accounts I shared with my friends. I just mainly play on my main account now, but I do have one alt account that I use a lot. And wouldn't you know, my one alt account actually has the IS-7 on it. Since I have the IS-7 on my alt, I didn't really see a need to get it on my main account, but I've changed my mind now and realized that I actually do want it on my main account. Now, I've grinded this line many times on multiple accounts, and every time I had to play the IS, I've always used the 122. It makes sense, right? It's the last gun you unlock on the tank, so surely it must be good, right? Now, when I'm talking about the best gun on the IS, I'm referring to the stock gun. As you can see here, you can clearly tell the stats on the gun are so much better in basically every regard except damage. Another really interesting fact about the stock gun on the IS is it gets an extra degree of gun depression. Russian tanks already don't have gun depression, so having one extra degree can actually be quite nice. The gun is a tad bit more accurate, and it's actually noticeable. The gun's also a tiny bit lighter, so you technically have a better power to weight ratio and effective horsepower, but that isn't actually all that noticeable. Now, while most people use the 122, after looking at these stats, I don't know why you would want to use the 122 over the 100. The one defense I can make for the 122 is it does have higher alpha damage, meaning it makes peek-a-boom gameplay much more viable than this gun, but I don't know why you would want that when you can just do so much more damage in a shorter amount of time with the 100. So let's think about this for a second. In the amount of time it takes you to shoot once with the 122, that's 400 damage, you can shoot twice with the 100mm, which is 280. You add 280 together, and that's 460 damage, meaning you can do more damage in the amount of time than it takes for you to do with the 122. Now, with DPM out of the way, let's talk about penetration. The 100mm also has better penetration on its premium rounds. And let's also take into consideration that the IS is a tier 7 tank. Odd tiered tanks tend to get up tiered more often than even numbered tanks, meaning that you want as much penetration you can get, especially if you're a heavy tank on the front lines with tier 8 heavy tanks. Now, I get it. You're playing the IS-7 line because you want those somewhat fast heavy tanks with those really big guns. And to go from the KV-1S to the IS, where the gun feels almost weaker, I can understand why you want to use the 122, but I promise you, the 100 is so much more versatile, and you will get so many better games with the 100. The biggest selling point of this gun for me is definitely the accuracy, because it is noticeable. The gun is noticeably more accurate. Now, yes, you're not supposed to aim with Russian guns, I understand that. But you actually do notice a difference when you use this gun compared to the 122. So in conclusion, I don't know why you would want to use the 122. The 100mm is better in basically every single regard. Other than alpha damage, 280 is kind of low, but you gotta also realize that you're rolling for 300 really often, and if you combine two 300s, that's 600 damage compared to 400 damage, or maybe even like 450, 460 with a high roll on the 122. But that's all for this video. I didn't want it to be super long, just a quick little information dump for other people like myself and just new players in general who are going up these tech trees for the first time and want to maximize their gameplay and effectiveness. Now, I haven't made videos as much recently because I got busy with stuff in real life, and also my recording software actually broke. But now that I got it fixed and things have kind of died down in real life, I plan on making even more videos soon, and I plan on changing my schedule a little bit. Every Sunday, I want to have like a super heavily edited video, and I might try and get a somewhat more mellow and laid back video in throughout the week. That's just kind of a little bit of editing in there. That's a little bit longer in time, so be ready for that. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something from this video. God bless, and I'll see you in the next one.